Heavenly Sword playthrough part 2. We are going to be playing Twing now as Kai, and this is not Noriko's sister. I think just another tribe member that got decimated by King Bohan, and she's one of the last survivors or something like that. But this really showed some of the misplaced ambition that developers had at the time. So the Nintendo Wii was the most successful console during the era of the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. I mean, it's still one of the most successful consoles, I think only behind like the PlayStation 2. And it was cheap, and it had the fun motion controls, and that meant that other people were trying to copy that. So Xbox 360 had Kinect, which is now pretty much gone and shoved under the rug, and PlayStation had their weird wand thing that didn't really go anywhere, but they also had the PlayStation 3 DualShock controllers, is what they called them. And these controllers had motion inside of them, kind of like your 3DS or even your phone does, but it was not very good, and I don't think I've played a game that has used it very well. And this game tries to get you to use it. So when you are firing these arrows, because I guess the developers realized that aiming sucks in this game, they let you zoom in on the arrow by holding X or whatever the fire button is, and then you can control it in slow motion to more easily aim and kill your enemies. And on default, that DualShock motion control is enabled, and it is impossible to use. It is the worst thing I have ever used in my life. And when I first played this game way back in 2007 when it came out, I remember failing this part hundreds and hundreds of times. It was probably like 3 or 4 times, but I failed it over and over again because I could not figure out how the heck you're supposed to control the arrow. But I learned if you go into the menus, you can turn that DualShock crap off, and then you can just use the analog sticks to control the arrows. But that's still not perfect. The enemies will dodge the arrows you fire at them. Sometimes it looks like you're gonna hit them, but it like goes through their clothes or something. It's still not really a good system. I don't like doing this, and it doesn't matter too much anyway, because anyone that you miss is going to fight Noriko in a couple of minutes here. So the one it says the killed there, that's good because it's less you have to kill when you switch on over back to Noriko, but if you miss more and more, which I think I end up missing like 10 of them because they're coming from all directions, and you know, none of my arrow aiming is working. As you can see, I am trying hard to hit these things, and that one, it hit his shield and killed him, and I think, does it miss this guy? No, I hit that guy. You know, it doesn't matter where you hit him, you can hit him anywhere, but I don't know, there's not many times we have to play as Kai. Thankfully, there are going to be a couple of levels where we do play solely as Kai, and then another time when we have to do Twang like this again. Luckily, those are not too common, though, because this was really not one of the high points of this game. I think the high point of this game is just the kind of sort of samurai feel you get from it. Huge armies, amazing cutscenes, fun story. I mean, I love this game. It was just kind of sad to me that when I ask people if they've ever played it, most of the time they say no, they haven't. And I can't blame them. When it came out, it was a $60 game, and it lasts probably like 5 hours. It is not a very long game. Now, something I have not talked about yet is the meter at the bottom of the screen. It has 3 orbs, and if you do enough damage perfectly, so if you just keep getting combos and combos and combos, and you're doing that without taking a whole lot of damage, that meter will rise all the way to the top and fill in 3 of those orbs. So that's kind of the collectible system in this game, and each level will have 3 of these, so once you get enough orbs, you'll unlock things like new combos, or artwork, or special stuff. I mean, I don't know, I've never really gotten all of them, never had any desire to. One thing Ninja Theory is not good at is collectibles that are worth doing. The new game they made, Hellblade, that one had a couple of story stones you could go and listen to, and that was cool, but you know, still kind of pointless. I know in their Odyssey Enslaved, Odyssey West, whatever that's called, game, had these little balls of light that you had to pick up, and it was like, hey, pick them up in every single level, and I'm like, why the heck would anyone do that? This game's not that good. Anyway, very rarely am I actually going to fill that meter up, so don't expect that. This game has 5 chapters, and each chapter has a varying amount of levels. So chapter 1 has a decent amount of levels, and then chapter 2 and 3 and 4 have quite a few. At least I think there's 5 chapters, there might be 4. And chapter 5 does not have very many chapters at all, because that's mostly just a bunch of final boss fights, which is a lot of fun. The combat in this game I'm going to talk about probably more in the next video. It's not the best, it's pretty intuitive once you get used to it, but you're going to see me make a lot of mistakes, especially later on in the game. For now though, we're just going to watch the easy mode part of this game, I guess. And that's going to be it for this part. I'll continue talking later on in the video.
You may collect the bodies of your men and give them a dignified burial.
All my life, I've had a recurring dream. In my dream, I see my father. He is standing above me. He raises the sword above his head. I try to call out to him and tell him to stop, but the sword strikes down. But this night, it wasn't a dream. The sword is now mine to protect, and my life will change forever.
You are needed, Nariko! Get up here! Do you hear? Nariko! Bohan's reinforced his troops with catapults. We found a working cannon. Cover us while we stage a retreat to the west. Then make a break for the eastern cliffs and above all, keep the sword safe.
Don't leave me! Take me with you!
Kai, you come with me!
No, Kai! Go with Father! I'll find you again! I promise!
Destroying the catapults is going to be one of the many huge world army battles that we're going to be doing inside of this game, and this was really, I think, where the game shines, especially back in 2007, where stuff like this just was not that common. And even today, I'm trying to think of what games are similar to this today, and there's just not that many that I can come up with. There might be a couple of mock indie games. There's a lot of like battle simulator games. Maybe Rome Total War, that was out at the time, but you weren't, you know, those were RTS games. You were commanding the army, you weren't playing in the army. And that's just kind of the difference that I wish more people would make games like this. But anyway, there's no money in these kind of games today. So with these 3 catapults, there's going to be these shining shields on them that we have to destroy, and just like Twang earlier in the video, you're going to control it either with the garbage DualShock, or we're going to just, you know, use a controller. And I don't really know why I'm talking like I'm making a walkthrough for this. I should just be talking about the game itself otherwise, or just how fun it is. I don't know, it's just, no one, I don't expect anyone to actually go play this game now, so. But I'm just describing some of the annoyances that existed at the time, and today they've mostly figured it out. I think there's still some motion controls in the PlayStation 4 controller. I don't know if there are. There are in the Nintendo Switch. Those Joy-Cons do have the motion controls, and if you've played Breath of the Wild, Nintendo tries, I think, in vain to make them relevant. I don't really think that they needed to be included in the game at all, because there's so many little puzzles where you have to like move around your controller to adjust the platforms to do the puzzle correctly, or the shrine or whatever it is, and it's just not fun, you know? It's just like, oh, this is so annoying, and especially when you have to recenter it. I mean, it's like when you're playing Skyward Sword on the Wii, if you have to constantly recenter your aimer, I think there's something wrong with the design there. And not the least of why Skyward Sword is one of the worst Zelda games that have ever been made, but that's a different video. These catapults have 4 of these shields that you have to blow up, so one of them will be kind of hidden inside, and you get 4 minutes to do to destroy all 3 of these. So once they're all dead, we will get to destroy a whole lot of the army. So our tribe is going to be escaping down the frozen river and hopefully not falling in, and then the army is going to be chasing them. I don't really understand how those few people escape this army from Mulan. I guess we will question that another time, but we need to get 700 kills here, and that's really best done just by spamming the garbage out of the ground. There's a lot of barrels there you can blow up if you aim for them, and once you wait a little bit for the army to get closer, you can just blow those up and kill tons of them at once. But it doesn't really matter, you don't have to keep them from getting into the river, you just have to kill 700 of them within the time limit. And eventually they're going to get pretty close to the river here, and it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to kill massive amounts of them at once. And once that's done, that's going to be the end of this video, so I'll continue on talking a little bit more about the combat in the next one.
If I'm captured, the Heavenly Sword is lost, and the clan's sacrifice will have been in vain.